Alright, 2.3 linear functions and slope, day 1. So this part of the lesson, we're going to calculate a line slope. We're going to write the point-slope form of the equation of a line. We're going to write and graph the slope-intercept form of the equation of a line, and graph horizontal or vertical lines. So first thing is, remember what you know about slope. So slope is how the line is changing. It says the slope of a line through the distinct points x1, y1, and x2, y2 is, and you've seen it before, as the change in y over the change in x. You've also called it rise over run. And then there is our equation. So y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1, where x2 minus x1 cannot equal 0. So remember, if you get 0 over some number, that's always equal to 0. But if you get some number divided by 0, that's when it's undefined. So that's why it says that denominator can't be 0. Alright, so example 1 says, find the slope of the line passing through the points. So if they give you 2 points, you can find the slope using that equation. So we're going to label our points. One of them is x1, y1. The other one is x2, y2. Doesn't matter which one's which, as long as x1 and y1 are in the same parenthesis. Alright, so we're looking for slope, which is symbolized by the variable m. And remember, our formula was y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And so I'm going to build the skeleton like I did before. So there's my divide line. I'm going to put my minus sign on top and bottom. And then I'm just going to plug in my numbers. So let's see. What is our y2? Well, it's 5. What is y1? It's a negative 2. What is x2? It's negative 1. And what is x1? It's a positive 4. Then remember, minus a negative is a plus. So 5 plus 2 is 7. Negative 1 minus 4 is negative 5. See if you can reduce it. This one you cannot. So therefore, there is our solution. Now, we wrote that as 7 divided by negative 5. But remember, it doesn't matter. We could have said the negative's in the middle. So it could have said it's like negative 7/5. Or we could have actually even put the negative on top. So either of those three things are equivalent. Alright, then we're going to talk about the point-slope form. It says the point-slope form of an equation of a non-vertical line with slope m that passes through the point x1, y1 is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Alright, so we're going to use this equation anytime we're looking for point-slope form, or even if they give us a point and a slope, or if they give us 2 points, we can even use this to find our slope-intercept form. So what you're going to do is you're going to plug in numbers for y1, m, and x1. The y and x right here will stay y and x, because when we plug them in and then we solve for y, we'll end up with that y equals mx plus b. So that y and x up there above is the y and x that's right there in that equation as well. Now remember, you can use this if they give you a slope and an ordered pair, or if they just give you 2 ordered pairs. Because if they give you 2 ordered pairs, you can do what we did in example 1, and you can find your slope, and then you can pick either one of your ordered pairs to plug it in to find your solution. Alright, example 2 says write an equation in point-slope form for the line with slope of 6 that passes through the point 2, negative 5. Then solve the equation for y. So they told me that my slope is 6 and that it goes to the point 2, negative 5. Alright, so sorry about that. Alright, so that 2, negative 5. Just a second. There we are. Alright, so that 2, negative 5, remember, is our x1, y1. So now this one they gave us a slope. We didn't have to find it. So we know, because we have a slope and a point, we're going to use our point-slope form, which is that y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Remember, we're going to plug in numbers for y1, m, and x1. So I'm going to build my skeleton. So y minus, I'm going to plug in a number, equals, I'm going to plug in a number, parenthesis, x minus, I'm going to plug in another number, close your parenthesis. So as we go through it, what is our y1? Well, it's -5. What is our slope? It's 6. And what is our x1? It's the 2. Now, if they just want us to put it in point slope form, the only thing you're going to do right now is take care of any minus and negatives you're going to have. So I can see right here I have minus and negative. Remember, minus and negative is a plus, so we're going to rewrite it as y plus 5 equals 6 times, I don't have a minus and negative there, so just leave it as the x minus 2. This is the point slope form that they're going to ask for, okay? Now, if they'd have given us 2 points, we could have used the other point as well to do this, and our answer would look a little different, but they'll be equivalent at the end. Okay, so this right here is point slope form. You don't distribute, you don't try to solve for y, you only take care of any minus and negatives you have from that formula. Then it says here, then solve the equation for y. So now let's go ahead and solve for y. So I'm going to distribute the 6. So we got y plus 5 equals 6x minus 12, and then move the 5 over because it doesn't have an x, it's got to go with the 12, and so we get y equals 6x minus 17. Okay, and they haven't called it yet, it's coming up on the next slide, but remember this is your slope intercept form. Alright, so before I go on to the next one, though, I really want to go back over right here. Because on one of the problems, I think it's maybe number 6, it's going to give you 2 ordered pairs. I'm just going to erase this, but I'm going to talk about it on this slide, okay? So it has nothing to do with this part. They're going to give us 2 ordered pairs. So I'm going to say x1, y1, and they're going to give us x2, y2. And they want us to find the point slope form of the equation. So the first thing you're going to do on number 6, I think for y'all, is you're going to find your slope. So you're going to do exactly what we did in example 1, okay? Alright, so you can find your slope is, I'm going to say it's a number. Now, once you find that, you're going to use your point slope form. It doesn't matter if you use the first equation, the first order pair or the second order pair, okay? What you're going to come out to, though, is when you look at your answer choices, like answer choice A is going to have y, either plus or minus, and it's going to have some stuff written here. And it's going to have the word or, and it's going to have the y, plus or minus, and some other stuff, okay? If you use the first ordered pair that they have written, you're going to look before the or for your answer. If you use the second ordered pair that they have written, you're going to look at the equation after the or for your answer, okay? All 4 answers have different ones for the first one and have different ones for the second one. So there's no trick. You don't have to find them both. Just know if you use the first ordered pair that's given, then you're going to look at the before the word or to see where your answer is. If you use the second one they give you, you have to look after the word or. Okay? Now on number 8 or 7, I think it is, actually number 7, it's going to tell you to solve for y. It doesn't matter if you use x1, y1, or x2, y2. If you use the first order pair or the second order pair, when you solve either one of these two and you get it down to y equals, you're going to get the same exact equation. So that's why it doesn't have the word or on it. So watch out for that. Alright, then it talks about the slope-intercept form. So remember the slope-intercept form an equation of a non-vertical line with a slope of m and a y-intercept of b, is y equals mx plus b. Now remember that m is a variable that represents your slope. Remember your slope is your rise over your run. How far do you go up and down versus how far do you go left or right. And then b, remember, is your y-intercept, which we also can write as 0, b. Alright, now to graph this, remember the first thing you're going to do is identify your slope and your y-intercept. Then you're going to plot the y-intercept. You're going to obtain, this one says a second point, we're going to find at least 2 more points, okay? So you're going to obtain 2 more points by using the slope m. Write m as a fraction and use rise over run, starting at the y-intercept to plot the point. Then just use a straight edge to draw a line through the 3 points and put arrows on both ends because the line will continue indefinitely both directions. Alright, so example 3. We're going to graph the linear function f of x equals 3/5 x plus 1. So first let's identify our slope. So our slope here is the number in front of the x, that's 3/5. Now remember, it's rise, so positive 3 means we're going to go up 3. And then it's a positive 5, so we're going to go to the right 5 for our run. But what happens if I'm already at the top of my graph and I can't go up any further? Well, instead we could do the opposite for both of them. So instead of going up 3, we could go down 3. And if we're going to do that, then instead of going right 5, we'd have to go to the left 5. And then we're going to find our y-intercept. Well, remember your y-intercept is that b value, which on this one is a 1. And if we wanted to write it as an ordered pair, that would be 0, 1. So when we graph this, we start at our origin, and we're going to plot our y-intercept, which is at 0, 1. And then we're going to use our slope to help us graph at least 2 more points. So my slope says we're going to go up 3, so 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to go to the right 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's my point. And then I need to do it again, so up 3 and right 5. There's another point. Now, let's just pretend, don't do this yours, let's just pretend that side isn't there, okay? So if that side isn't there, I can't go to the right any further. And so instead of going up 3, that's where the or part there, we could go down 3 and to the left 5. And then down 3 and to the left 5. And if you look at all the points we have there, they do lie in a straight line. So you'll connect all your points with using a straight edge and put arrows on both ends. And so there is the graph of our linear function. Now, if it isn't already solved for y, you need to solve it for y. I expect you to write out your slope and your y-intercept. Don't just throw it in your calculator to graph it, okay? Graph it using slope and y-intercept. Alright, then the equation of a horizontal line. It says a horizontal line is given by an equation of the form of y equals b, where b is the y-intercept of the line and the slope of the horizontal line is 0. So if it's y equals b, you're going to go on the y-axis to whatever that b value is, and then you're going to draw your horizontal line from there. Okay, because all across this line, it doesn't matter which of these points I pick, when I look at its ordered pair, it's whatever the x is, comma, our b value. Alright, another way to remember the slope of the horizontal line is 0 is it looks like this, which is the top of the z for the word 0. Then we have the vertical line. So the vertical line is given by an equation of the form x equals a. Where a is the x-intercept of the line. The slope of the vertical line is undefined. Okay, x equals a. When you graph the line x equals a, you can go to where x equals whatever that number is. Okay, and because it's x equals, that means it's not going to be a function, so it won't pass that vertical line test, so therefore it's going to go up and down. And you can check. If you pick any of these ordered pairs on that line, it's going to be a, comma, some other number. So like a, comma, that number will be different than a, comma, this number slash sub 2, I guess I call it. Alright, so the y values will be different, but all the x's are the same. And it tells us the slope of the line is undefined. Remember, it's going to look like this, and it's the side of the u for undefined. Or sometimes they'll even say instead of undefined, they'll say it has no slope. Same idea, it's the side of the n for no slope. Whichever helps you remember it. Alright, and so the same thing like on the others, guys, if it has an x equals or a y equals in it, if it's not by itself, you need to make sure you solve. So always solve it for y first, and if there is no y, then you're going to have to solve for x. Alright, so it says graph y equals 3 in the rectangular coordinate system. So I'm going to go to where my y value is 3. And now let's think about it. If I pick this point right here, is its y value, well, that's not a good one. This one here, is its y value 3? Yes, it is. Therefore, that means it's definitely going to be that horizontal line. Alright, any of these ordered pairs I pick, their y value will be 3. graph x equals -5 in the rectangular coordinate system. So now we're going to go to where x equals -5. Alright. And now I need to check and see, does this one go left or right? Well, if I go and I say, okay, well, let's just say if it goes this way. Is that x value a -5? No, that x value is -1 and then a 0 for the y value. So it's not going to go that direction. So I must be going to go the other direction. So what if I check right here? Is that x value -5? Well, its ordered pair is -2. I'm sorry. Did that one backwards. Its ordered pair is -5, -2. So yes, its x value is -5. So this is the line that's going to go vertical.